Where are we going, bro?
We are we are going on a ghost bus tour.
For choosing Haunted History Tours for all your spooky historical tour needs tonight. Door's still open. I'm going to be your spooky guide on this wild ride through the dark side of New Orleans history. My name's Christian, like a religion. But on that note, I'd like to welcome you all to the Crescent City, the Big Easy, the most haunted city in America, the city of the dead. Oh my God. All right, welcome everyone to the gates of St. Louis Cemetery, number 3. I know what you're thinking right now. Wait a minute, Christian. We bought this ticket and took the tour because the brochure said we're going to walk through some cemeteries on the tour tonight. Well, yes, you're going to, but a little bit later in the tour. I just love to start off with St. Louis 3 for a few reasons. For one, this is literally my neighborhood. I mean, not the graveyard. I don't actually live in a graveyard despite popular belief, but I do live a few blocks down the road this way, and it's a great example of a lot of our burial practices in New Orleans. Now, when you look in here, you get a great view of why they are called cities of the dead. We got that term from a young American author, a struggling writer living in New Orleans in the 1800s, soaking up the vibe here. Then he looks at the cemeteries and goes, wow, those really look like cities of the dead. And he puts his pen to paper, and that term catches on like wildfire. Some of the live oak trees in City Park are over 1,000 years old. In fact, that tree over there, you see that one with the branch that grows all the way down to the ground, starts growing sideways? It takes a live oak tree roughly 300 years to be able to do that. But dueling was a very important part of New Orleans culture. At the height of our dueling in the 1800s, we'd have an average of at least 2 or 3 duels every single day. And duels were fought over all kinds of stuff, but usually women at clubs and parties. Because 2 guys want to dance with the same woman at the same time. How do they sort that out? Of course, they have a duel. In the early 1920s, they had an incident that is not well documented, but is known locally as the domino incident because it involves domino sugar. The kids are playing at the playground. They notice there's a little pile of sugar sitting at the edge of the playground. They run over to investigate, give it a taste. Oh my God, it's sugar. They start getting crazy, hopped up on all the sugar, and then they notice there's a second pile of sugar a little further away. They go to play with that pile of sugar and have a great time, and they notice there's a third pile of sugar a little further away. They keep following these piles of sugar until it leads them to a big sack of domino sugar spilling out on the roots of this tree. And then as the children are heavily distracted by that sugar, the guy that's waiting up in the tree waits for the right moment when the kids are distracted to jump down, grab these little kids, and drag them to that water and drown them. He apparently did this several times, enough that locals started noticing a lot of neighborhood children are going missing. Some of them are showing up in the water. So they immediately launched an investigation. They quickly caught on to the piles of sugar, and this guy was eventually caught red-handed in the act. Apparently, he actually belonged to one of these families that own these big, fancy, expensive mansions along this road over here. And big, fancy, expensive mansions means big, fancy, expensive money, which means big, fancy, expensive power. Anybody want to step forward and try to drag a ghost out of the water?
Come on, brother.
I'm good.
Nobody? A bunch of yellow belly cowards? All right, I appreciate y'all, honestly. Because sometimes I do have drunk tourists on the tour, and they just scream it as loud as they possibly can, and a lot of folks do find it irritating in the neighborhood. But maybe y'all feel the same way that I do.
We're actually entering the cemetery. Oh my God.
Particularly this tombstone. This is actually multiple Masonic symbols at once. On the sides, you find the pillars of the Temple of Solomon. The Temple of Solomon and its pillars are a very big deal to Freemasons, and their names are Jachin and Boaz, which represent strength and establishment, and basically a kind of symbol of achieving enlightenment. You pull out a $1 bill, on the back of it you'll find a strange symbol of a pyramid with an eye on top, and you've probably seen that your whole life wondering what's that about. Well, that's a Freemason symbol, and it's on the $1 bill because Freemasons designed the $1 bill. In fact, they designed this country, and if you look at the street grid of our capital, Washington, D.C., you will eventually find there are Freemason symbols built into the street grid itself, because they're very good at building things and hiding their symbols in plain sight all over the place.